Hi, I'm Jodi Barrows. I'm the author and creator of the Square in a Square technique, where you don't ever have to worry about perfect points and cutting and sewing all those triangle units. Years ago, when I started sewing and making quilts, I was really frustrated with all those triangles, and that's how the Square in a Square system was invented. I just had to find a more perfect way. I wanted speed and accuracy, and I wanted quality and quantity of quilts. You'll learn how to make beautiful quilts like these without ever cutting or sewing a triangle unit. You'll learn how to do the pattern adapting and see how easy it is to use the option charts. Also, you'll learn how to use the new 4-patch and 9-patch tools of the Square in a Square system. Hi, I'm Jodi Barrows with the Square in a Square technique, and today I'm going to demo power cutting. So when you get ready to cut, you want to make sure that you have good quality, accurate tools. My favorite are Creative Grid and then Omni Grid. There's a couple of other good brands, but those two are my favorite. When you purchase a ruler, you want to be careful that if they have this extra ½ inch on there, that you remember that, because you can mess up by using the wrong side and run out of fabric and cut the wrong size. So I only use those when I'm specifically wanting that size. I don't use them any other time. The long one is a great one to have, the 24-inch, but I don't use it all the time. But a 6x24 I have on my table all the time. The ones that are my favorite are the 6x22 inch, and this one that is the 8-inch. I use this one a lot. I haven't had this one forever, but I go to it quite often. Now, when you get ready to cut your strips, to do your power cutting, you want to make sure that you line your edges up nice. Whatever, the fabric all kind of has its normal way that it hangs, and so you want to make it as nice and neat as possible. And then I'm going to fold it up to the half and make sure that it lines up nice and neat. And then you can just kind of stack those on top. And I want to make sure that I can see a little bit along the edge here. So you can do lots of layers at the same time. Now, I'm going to demo with the small one today, but normally I demo with the one that's a little bit bigger. And you can do 8 layers with it. They recommend 6, but you can get away with 8. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8 for my 8 layers. So I'll start with my biggest piece on the bottom and then work my way up to the smaller ones. And then when you're doing your cutting, because I have the little ruler, I'm just going to work on 2 today. But you know how, like, when you do let's say that I want 2-inch strips and I need 4 of them. So this is an 8-inch ruler. So what I'm going to do is, after I have these all lined up nice and neat, I'll use the line on the ruler to make sure that it's staying square, and then also I want to look up here to make sure that it's staying just as nice and neat as possible. So if I want 2-inch pieces out of this ruler with 8, I can get 4. So I'll push it down as close to the edge as I can to still get a nice clean up cut. So I'll start with, and I always like a ruler that's just a little bit bigger than my fabric. I don't want my fabric to be, my ruler and my fabric to be the same. I like some hanging off. That way you can get a better cut off of both ends. Now, I also like a mat that I can turn, because once I start cutting my fabric, I don't want to move it. So if I want 2-inch pieces, I want to go always with this edge. Lots of times people want to come in and do 2, 2, 2, 2, but you really should cut here and work this way. That way you're not getting a copy of a copy of a copy with your cuts. So I'll come in here and make my cut. Now also remember to walk your hand down the ruler, and also, if you will, leave your hand flat when you cut and not do the spider. You'll have less slippage. So now I want to come down here, and I'm going to still use this cut, and I'm going to move it down to the 2 inches. And that way, you'll see how I do this, how every time we'll be using this as my edge. That way, every 3 or 4 cuts, you don't have to do a new cleanup cut. So there's my 2 inches there. And I'll scoot it aside, then I'll come in here. So see, I'm always using this fabric edge for my cut. That way I'm not getting a copy of a copy of a copy. And it will keep your pieces straighter longer. So if I had my bigger cutter, I could be cutting 8 layers at a time. So you can see how quickly you could get 2, 4, 6, 8 strips, and you didn't have to go back in and square it up or trim it up just by keeping it that way.
I can't believe how much fabric I have cut, strips.
That was wound up over here because
I had to straighten it up after several after 2, sometimes after 1. So that's great. Well,
so then I'll turn it sideways, and like I said, you want a ruler that's a little bit bigger than what you're actual cutting. So once again, you don't want to move it around too much after you cut. So I'm actually going to come in here and do a cleanup cut. And I'm just using the edge of my ruler right along the edge of the fabric to get my good edge. And then once again, I'll turn it and rotate it around. And then I'll come back in here and can come off. Now, normally if you were going to do a 2-inch square, you line it up and get it all in there, but I don't like my rulers coming right to the edge of the fabric. I don't think I get a cut that's as good. So since I already know my width is good, I can move it up a little bit and just keep it on my 2-inch and keep it square with my lines, and I can get my 2-inch cut. And you can just keep going, going, going. And that's how you can power cut your strips and your squares. You see how that kind of twisted a little bit when you use the edge of the ruler, so it's nice to actually go up a little bit like that, or a whole lot, so that your fabric doesn't move around as much. Now, after you have your squares and strips, then you're ready to cut your triangle units. And those triangle units, we're going to use the square and a square ruler and the square and a square system to do that. So this is a specialty tool, and you have one ruler that makes every triangle unit, and it makes them any size that you want, and we call those options. So you start out with your square and put your strips around on the side, and I'm just going to put the tip of the 90 right into the tip or the corner of that square. The black lines go right over the seam. It'll go right through your point, and when I trim it up, see how that's leaving my perfect 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I'll just keep rotating around and trimming. And what it does is it helps remove the human element. Any imperfections I had in my cutting, sewing, or pressing, it's going to erase them and give me forgiveness so that I will get a perfect square and my perfect seam allowances on all sides. So this is the option 1, the square and a square, and there's 39 options with the square and a square system. If you want flying geese, which is option 3, we're going to put the 90 in the tip, just like we did on the other one, and we're going to do it on the two opposite sides. Now on these other 2 sides, we're going to trim sharp right up to the tip. So I put my 90 in there, and I just step it 1, 2, and I want the tip of the line to be nice and sharp right in the tip of the square. Trim it up, and see how it's a sharp trim. So what that's doing is it's moving our seam allowance and creating a point for us, so that when we come in here and cut it in half, right through those sharp trims, then you can see how we have our 2 perfect flying geese, just like that.
Love it.
So with the square and a square system, you'll either trim leaving the 1/4 of an inch or going right up to the tip on any of the different options. And this one here is an option 8. And to do my option 8, I will just cut my unit tip to tip and go this direction. And then this is what we call the option 8. So see how you can put something in the middle here, or you can do your borders. You can see how you can do your borders and how easy it is to turn those mitered corners and go back down the other side. Now my new fabric line with Studio E is Memories of the Civil War 2, and they're showing it here at Market. There's 2 great patterns that go along with it, and this will be shipping in June. So you'll have your panel with your Civil War battles on it. This is the actual size that it will be. You have your Jacobean print from the 1800s, your everyday checks, your tattered and torns, your 2 geometric shapes, and then this one down here is your battles. and it has the dates with the battles working in with the stripe. Then you have your elements of your cannons and guns, and then your little vine prints there. And that is Memories of the Civil War II. And you can do orders for it now, and it comes in June. Yeah. This is the actual size. And there's this pattern that's made up, and this one that's made up with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.